Hi, this presentation is on New Age spirituality, and specifically, I'm going to cover some of the main beliefs of New Agers, a brief history on how the movement got its name and its current momentum, and what to consider as a counselor who's receiving a client who adheres to New Age spiritual beliefs, or a client who is a Christian, claims to be a Christian, and unbeknownst to them, they hold on to New Age spiritual beliefs. So, first of all, what is New Age spirituality? Charlie Campbell says, unlike many religions like Islam or Buddhism, the New Age movement does not trace its roots back to a human founder. It is actually a diverse blend of ancient religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Gnosticism, and the occult. The New Age movement is sort of a free flowing spiritual movement made up of believers and practitioners who share somewhat similar beliefs and practices, which many just add on to their previously held religious beliefs. I would like to point out here that there's no central text in the New Age movement. There's no New Testament, Old Testament, there's no Hindu Vedas or Quran to point to as a source of orthodoxy. And so many New Agers actually go to spiritual leaders, teachers of the day. And so that leads us kind of into our history and recent momentum, where I'd just like to say that the term New Age has been around for less than a century. And it was actually popularized by the woman in the upper left, Alice Bailey. She was a British born author and theosophist, which is esoteric philosophy concerning the nature and mystery of the divine. It's basically a seeking of knowing God without revelation, man's desire to know who God is without actually receiving it from his divine revelation. And it's there was increased momentum after she named it in some of her writings. The momentum continued in the 60s, and in the media was promoting this New Age kind of philosophy and beliefs as the Beatles got popular, actually, and they were in the news, and they got connected with this guy named Mahesh Yogi. He was a Hindu spiritual guru. And I wouldn't say that it was actually the Beatles who promoted it so much in the West, but they definitely had a major role in promoting New Age philosophy in the youth. And that's when a big surge of interest in yoga and New Age kind of practices practices in the East came over into the West. So today, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and Oprah Winfrey are a few of the big names in the New Age movement as they appear on TV, write books, and give seminars. Some of their books include A New Earth, The Power of Now, both by Eckhart Tolle. There's also a few books by Deepak Chopra pictured below. And one of his most popular was The Seven Spiritual Laws of His Success. These books have sold millions, and they've also presented on TV. Oprah is very popular for that, having both of these two guys on her left and right appear on television. Both of these guys have given many seminars and have written these books. And so they've become very popular in the United States and in Europe and also in Canada and all around the world. These books have been translated into many different languages. So New Age-ism and the belief in New Age philosophy and spirituality is very widespread. There's 8 New Age beliefs. First of all, and these are main New Age beliefs. There's more than 8, but these are the main ones. First of all, the belief that all is one. They believe that everything in the universe is interconnected. So every living thing is interconnected to the other living thing. It's sort of a big network of created order of things. And there's also, secondly, a belief that all is God. They believe that the divine is in every person and in everything. Thirdly, they believe in human deity, which flows from the second point. They specifically believe that humans are presently divine, not that we will become gods, but that we are divine presently. Fourth, they believe, New Agers believe, in the change and the need for change in consciousness. And so they believe that the main human predicament isn't sin or anything wrong with people in and of ourselves, but it's more a problem with our conscience. It's more of a problem with us having forgotten our true identities and true potential as gods. Fifthly, New Agers believe in the oneness of religions. This is also called religious pluralism. They believe that all religions point to the same ultimate reality or God force or source of light. They consider this God to be an it rather than a he, she, or a knowable person. And yeah, this is religious pluralism, where they believe that all religions essentially point to the same faith and the same source in the end. 6, New Agers believe in reincarnation. They believe that life consists of this endless cycle of life and death and rebirth. 7, New Agers believe in moral relativism. They believe that there's no objective moral laws that can be applied to all people. And so this is a tricky situation, especially when counseling clients and moral relativism. 8, they believe in New Age, which is actually where the name New Age religion or New Age spirituality comes from. They believe that there's going to be a new age in which death and war and hunger and sickness and violence and racism and hate and all the bad things in the world, basically, and the ways that the world is broken, are going to be something of the past. And they believe that this new age will be awesome, amazing, and consist of one nation in the world, with one religion, with one language, with one government. They believe that this new age will be fully realized when humanity understands that we are really divine. And so as more people, this is their belief, that as more people realize they are actually divine, there will be a awakening and there will be a new age, and things like death and hate and sickness and violence and racism and hunger and wars will start to cease. There's various practices I'd like to point out from New Agers, and so the main goal of these practices is to achieve a greater awareness of an individual's divinity and to realize their full potential. And to this end, they go to gatherings and seminars and read self-help books and engage in these kind of activities like meditation, the kind in which a person seeks to achieve an altered state of consciousness, yoga, and not merely for exercise. Yoga for exercise is different than yoga, where it's a guided meditation and for someone being conscious of their own divinity. That's where it becomes a spiritual practice rather than just a merely physical exercise. Channeling, this is contacting spiritual guides or the deceased. Creative visualizations, and quote unquote, this is using mental imagery to imagine oneself in the presence of a divine being or being healed of sickness or anything else. That is a New Age teaching. Visiting a psychic, hypnosis, past life therapy, that's tied in with reincarnation and the belief that a person who's coming in for counseling believes they had a past life and therefore they may be needing to resolve issues from that past life in therapy. Acupuncture, and then astral projections. This goes into astrology and beliefs in kind of the ethereal beliefs of the universe. So as far as counseling New Agers, this is a little bit tricky. I came up with 4 points, things to keep in mind and consider when receiving a New Ager into your a therapy session. And so first of all, the word religious isn't usually used by New Agers to describe themselves. They'll use the word spiritual. And so being sensitive to that is important to communicate care and understanding to somebody who adheres to New Age beliefs. And with such a wide range of beliefs and within the New Age movement, just like any other religion, it's best to listen and to seek to understand the individual's specific beliefs and values rather than assuming the individual has adopted all 8 core New Age beliefs. It's good to have a framework of understanding those 8 core beliefs, but it's also good to understand that there may be somebody who claims to be a New Age adherent, but they don't believe in moral relativism or something like that. Number three, medication. So medication could actually be a major struggle point in those who adhere to New Age beliefs. They may think that taking medication isn't good, isn't right, and they may try a lot of different ways to get rid of their illnesses and may be discouraged. And so there's actually many proponents, say Deepak Chopra, he's actually really well known for supporting alternative medicines. And so if there's, say, somebody who comes in and is a New Age adherent, but they also struggle with schizophrenia and they need to be taking meds, this could be a potential issue and something that you would need to help walk your client through. And so the thought that they can't just wish away their illness or use alternative methods and just overcome it mentally and wish away the way that their physical makeup is something they may need to understand. New Age teaching also suggests that adherents should conceptualize death as an illusion. So I suggest that it's important to be ready to do some grief work with some of these clients and to help your client come to realize death as a reality and that grief is okay. Some teachers of New Age philosophy teach that death is merely an illusion and that what we really need is to become just completely aware that death has already happened. And so that kind of takes away from the whole range of human emotions. And so somebody who is New Age in their beliefs may need to come in and learn how to feel, learn how to grieve, and learn how to actually experience their feelings. Okay, so in closing, there's one thing I want to wrap up with, which is counseling Christians with New Age beliefs. And so recent polls are showing that 75% of Americans claim to be Christian, and therapists are bound to come across self-proclaimed Christians who hold to New Age beliefs. There are so many New Age beliefs that are ingrained in our culture now, and there's some of these new surveys that are showing some of the percentages of believers, of just Americans, I mean, who have believed in New Age thought. And so let's just look at 25% of Americans, adult Americans, say that they believe in reincarnation. Another one, 67% read astrology columns. 8% define God as the total realization of personal human potential. 3% believe that each person is God. And so I think it's important to know some of these New Age beliefs and understand that there's people in the media, namely Oprah Winfrey, who claims to be a Christian, yet their beliefs don't align with Scripture and don't align with the Word of God. And so there's New Age beliefs that are seeping into Christianity and seeping into the church. And so if there's a client coming in and they're having issues or there's certain things that they say they believe in, it might be worth it to help them to explore what they believe and if they have become aware that that's actually a New Age belief. So I just thought that that would be a good thing to be aware of, and especially if you have a client coming in who's going to a church or claiming to be a Christian, and if they have unbiblical thoughts or beliefs that have kind of been infused with New Age beliefs somewhere along the line, it would be very helpful for them to understand where those values or where those beliefs have actually come from. So that's it. Resources here. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned a lot.